I want to start off by honestly saying God bless all children, all parents, and all people involved in the very messy border situation. We shouldn't lose our compassion and humanity over a topic like this. Regardless of occupation or legal status, these are all humans involved, and we should definitely be showing love. With that being said, one of the biggest fundraisers to ever hit Facebook came this week, skyrocketing towards 17 million, way on its way to its $20 million goal, claiming to reunite immigrant families with their children. $20 million. Wow. So where in the world are these millions of dollars going to go? First off, who is the organization? Their name is RAICES. The Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services is a 501c3 charity that provides free and low-cost legal services to underserved immigrant children, families, and refugees. That sounds really nice. So where is the money going? According to a report by Engadget, RAICES will use the funds to legally represent immigrant families and paying parents bond so they can be released from detention centers and recover their children, according to the New York Times. The Washington Post reported it plans to use the money not only to bond parents out of immigration jails, but also to provide lawyers to the parents and children as they fight in court to stay together and stay in the United States. That seems to be a lot different from not letting the children be separated from their parents, giving illegal immigrants legal representation in the country that they're not even a citizen of, to then fight to stay together in the United States. What's even more alarming to me about this fundraiser in this organization is nowhere do they address the very important issue of child trafficking. Recent Department of Homeland Security reports said that 10,000 out of 12,000 kids were brought here without a parent or a family member. That's a lot. Even Barack Obama knew about this horrific reality.
Our message absolutely is don't send your children unaccompanied on trains or through a bunch of smugglers. We don't even know how many of these kids don't make it and may have been waylaid into sex trafficking or killed because they fell off a train. We have no way of tracking that. So that is our direct message to the families in Central America. Do not send your children to the borders. If they do make it, they'll get sent back. More importantly, they may not make it.
Unfortunately, many reports, including the very biased and left-leaning Washington Post, said that the Obama administration left children in the hands of child traffickers. Maybe the mainstream media can do a report on the psychological effect of being left in the hands of a child trafficker, but that doesn't fit the narrative, so nobody seems to care about it or really harp on it. Is this fundraiser or organization going to make sure that they don't give legal representation to somebody who's a child trafficker or an extremely dangerous criminal? I would hope so. Please tell me that they're doing some sort of background check research to make sure that they solve the multi-layered and multifaceted issue that they never talk about. I hope that they do. But I don't really have any faith because I've been a liberal and a left-leaning person my entire life. And I'm absolutely disgusted, and I do not want to associate with any liberals or progressives anymore because it seems like all they do is live in a victim mentality mindset where they're so much more virtuous and holier than you. And if you try to explain the multi-layered issue going on so real children and women and people aren't affected, they scream racism, sexism, xenophobia. You're not allowed to talk about it. This debate's closed. It involves women and children, so I'm right and you're wrong. Let's hope so, because recent Department of Homeland Security research has said that there's been an over 300% increase of kids showing up at the border without their actual parents. But this isn't as glorious, and it doesn't make people feel good about themselves on Facebook and Instagram and feel like they're really helping and they're so much better than anybody who likes Trump. It just doesn't fit the narrative. Over 50,000 people were arrested at the border last month for multiple months in a row. That's people that were arrested. That means that upwards of 100,000 people are trying to cross the border every month. If you really want to solve the problem at its root and at the core, if you really want to help all women and children and really help the people of Mexico, Central America, and South America, then why don't you move to Mexico, South America, or Central America and build it up and make it a place that people don't want to escape away from? If you really want to start a fundraiser that really solves the core of the issue, it's not blaming Trump with politically charged and photoshopped Time cover magazines, the same picture that was used by RAICES to raise upwards of $20 million. If you really want to solve the problem, you'll figure out what's going on in Mexico, Central America, and South America, and make it so good that millions of people don't have to escape to the United States. I'm not being mean or sarcastic. I'm being extremely serious. I would love to see a bunch of activists move there, fix the country, and get to the core of what's going on. Because with 50,000 people getting arrested every month at the border, $20 million freaking out and then patting yourself for sharing it on Facebook is not going to solve this issue. It's not going to slow down this issue. And it's certainly not going to help all the women and children who are going through something 20 times as horrible as anything that you're raising money for, protesting, or freaking out about. But that's the story. Upwards of $20 million raised to make sure that parents aren't separated from their children. And reports say that they're going to provide legal help for illegal immigrants to stay in the United States. I truly do hope that this fundraiser helps a lot of great people and helps a lot of great families, but I do have my suspicions. God bless everybody at the border. God bless all the women. God bless all the children. God bless every human being, from Mexico to the United States to Canada to the Middle East to Africa to Europe to Asia to South America and to Australia. I truly have love for everybody, and I want to see everyone succeed and find peace, happiness, and prosperity. I want to send a special shout out to all the women and children who will never be helped by this fundraiser, and all of the women and children who will suffer because people would rather push their narrative and push what the news told them to think and push their immigrant agenda instead of looking at the entire situation, looking at the countries people are escaping to make sure that they don't put women, children, and entire countries at harm. And I want to give a last special shout out to the American citizens, to the Black, Latino, white, Asian, Indian, Native American, European, and multicultural American citizens, the kids in foster homes, the hundreds of thousands of people sleeping out on the streets in tents, infesting the cities with garbage, syringes, drugs, to the working class and lower class American citizens who spend 40 to 50 hours a week to bust their behind, in some cases who don't even have clean water, who live in apartment buildings and project buildings that are barred up and caged up, whose health and mind suffers like mine have, having to live in unhealthy and impoverished situations. Stay strong, stay grateful, and stay motivated. I apologize that this country's media, this country's politicians, this country's activists, and this country's self-proclaimed internet social justice warriors don't care about you anymore. I do. Thank you for listening, and thank you for considering.